Welcome to the Beacon of Light podcast, where we have brought in various experts, medical, psychological, clinical, and of course, peer support, case management, and the rest of the support staff here at Beecon Recovery. And the total objective at Beecon Recovery, which is a drug and alcohol addiction recovery center located in Brigham City, Utah, where our primary objective, our only objective, is to teach people how to stay stopped. Enjoy this episode as well as any future episodes. Okay, so welcome back to the Beacon of Light podcast. We are here at Beecon Recovery, and this is Lee Williams. Lee, I want you to go back a little bit, and well, first of all, how long have you been in recovery from your addiction?
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Thanks for having me on here. So July 18th of 2002 is my sober date that I celebrate. So, and 21 years of recovery, active addiction from alcohol and illegal drugs.
What type of illegal drugs?
Okay, getting real here.
Yeah.
Anything. I mean, I went into treatment I thought my problem was methamphetamine. I thought that was my problem. I didn't realize I had a lead problem. There was a lot of other things that I had issues that I had to address, but methamphetamine was what got me into treatment. At the time, I was doing everything: alcohol, weed, cannabis, heroin, whatever I could get my hands on, but meth was what got me into treatment.
So what we just experienced is what everybody's going to experience. There's no script. It has to be this way, right? So this is going to be an authentic, right? Yeah. And I won't ask you anything that you have not shared with me.
Yeah, you know me. I'm an open book.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to know, brother.
So now let's fast forward real quick, and then we're going to come back and fill in the blanks in a sec.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living right now?
I'm a mental health therapist and substance abuse counselor.
So what does that mean? There's an acronym. Which one are you?
Yeah, the acronym is an LCSW, a licensed clinical social worker.
So you were an addict, and now you're an LCSW.
Yes, sir.
That's kind of badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you had your master's degree?
It's been 12 years. 12 years? No, it's been longer than that. Sorry. Time flies when you're getting old. It's been 14 years. 2009.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So in essence, what we can say is you have chosen to do what somebody else chose to do, which is to assist individuals that are stuck in their... That's what you have chosen to do.
Yeah, I think it'd be more accurate to say it chose me. I mean, I did make some choice in there, but I think the work chose me. I don't know if I necessarily chose it. It keeps calling me back in, and it's kind of a natural spiritual calling, I see it as. How?
Explain that, if you don't mind. It chose you. What do you... Can you go into a little bit more detail about that?
Yeah, I think as far as comfortability, feeling where I belong, feeling I'm amongst my people, feeling like I could do the most benefit in any other field that I've worked in. I've done admin roles. I've been a paralegal. I've done hard labor roles. It just seems like this is where I need to be.
So, I'm just going to throw this out there. Lee, you used to work at Beecon Recovery.
Yes, sir.
And then do logistics with your home life. You chose to go elsewhere.
Yes. And
then you realized, and today is your first day back working as Beecon Recovery's clinical director.
Yeah.
And define what does that mean as to be, I know, but for the folks that are out there, you're a therapist first and foremost. But from my perspective, you're a therapist as a clinical director. You're seeing patients, but you're also managing the other therapists that are here at Beecon Recovery. Can you speak a little bit about how that works?
Sure. I'm a micro-level therapist, so I do individual work. I do individual and group work with a client, but I guess to kind of explain it a little bit better, I had a professor one time tell me if I really want to advocate for this field, get out of the individual room, get out of the group room. Meso, micro, and macro level work. So as a micro level therapist, I can see clients, I can do groups, but I experience on that meso and macro level, overseeing all clinical aspects, overseeing the complete treatment milieu from intake to discharge for a client.
So here we go. Totally unscripted. About to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think, by and large, the way we are currently addressing drug addiction, substance abuse out there is currently, do you think it's working, whatever's happening out there right now?
I'm glad you clarified it to say out there. I was going to ask you what Beecon's doing or what's happening out there.
Yes, sir. What's out there?
Out there, I wouldn't say what people are getting recovery. There are a lot of new and progressive works being done for addicts, but I don't think it's where we need to be now. Definitely not where we need to be with, especially with person-centered. There's a kind of an archaic approach that has been used over the years that some people still use. It's not as person-centered. So we're getting there. Okay. We're making progress.
So now that's progress as a whole. Now I want to speak to, because you clarified what I was going to clarify. You said out there versus Beecon Recovery. Now, let's talk a little bit about what's going on. And we're not going to bust anybody's chops. We're just going to talk about what Beecon Recovery is doing that we know does work versus what isn't working out there. When you're out there, based on your experience, and by the way, you've been doing this for how many years again?
Well, I've been in recovery for 21 years. I've had my license now for 14 years.
So while you're in recovery, suffice to say, you've probably been to a treatment facility or two.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you've been both sides of the gamut. You've been a patient at facilities, and now you've also had the opportunity over the course of your career to be on the other side. So you've been on both sides of the fence. Okay. Now, with that experience, when you go to a facility, from your opinion, what is the average length, right, that somebody, or no, let me rephrase, how often will someone in an outpatient setting, okay, how often will they see a therapist?
Okay, on average. I paused. I was deer in the headlight there because how often do they or how often they should they? They should see them bare minimum at least once a week. Okay. How often are they?
Yes.
Most outpatients will do twice a month, if not once a month.
Okay. So for the record, at Beecon Recovery, people are seeing a therapist at least 4 days a week. And they're seeing more than one therapist. Yeah. Okay. So just to recap, everywhere else, or most of the other places, you'll see a therapist once every 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I don't want to bust anyone's chops either, but I will say this. There was an outpatient that I've recently been affiliated with that doesn't see a master's level therapist ever. They have a SUD-C, which is a lower level of a clinician, and they see him once a month virtually for a half hour. It's pretty deep. Yeah, once a month, virtually for a half hour for a non-master's level therapist.
So they don't even see a master's level. No. Doesn't that bug you?
Extremely. Yeah, their needs aren't being met. They're not getting what they need out of treatment. It's more
and we wonder why people are relapsing. This practice of not seeing a master's level therapist with any level of regularity, I find problematic.
Extremely, especially as I like to say, recovery doesn't happen or it doesn't start in treatment, but it happens here. You know, they're coming in, and this is where crap's really hitting the fan. They're really needing that extra help. So they've gone through a detox phase. They have a little bit of clean time under the belt. They come into an outpatient. They really need some assistance at that point.
Okay. So my objective, it's not to talk smack about anything else that anybody isn't doing. The objective here is to discuss what we're doing that does work.
Sure.
Now, this for me was a common sense. This is just common sense. I mean, if you look at what happens in a schoolroom, a classroom in school, anybody will tell you that a teacher that's teaching a classroom full of 10 students versus a classroom full of 30 students, the 10 students are going to get a better education. And that's where this came from for me, was that common sense. We get to focus more individual treatment on somebody, giving them a better education. And the same thing rings true here, except this way we're flipping it up completely upside down. We're doing more individual stuff because it's not just that therapist that they're seeing 4 days a week. They're getting neurofeedback 5 days a week. They're getting case management at least 3 or 4 days a week. They're getting peer support at least 3 or 4 days a week.
Got a whole team.
Got a whole team of individual stuff. I mean, we will walk by the group room, and sometimes there might be just 1 or 2 people in that group room because everybody else is getting individual treatment. But the big one for me was a therapist.
Yeah.
A therapist with a master's level degree. Why aren't we as a whole seeing these people more often? And that's why we're doing what we're doing here at Beecon Recovery. And it was also imperative for me, as we move forward with this, that they don't just see one therapist. And the reason for that, for me, was just human nature. Okay, I'm talking to you. Okay, I can ask you a subject. I can ask you your opinion on the ins and outs of this, whatever we're picking, whatever this journal is. Okay, you can give me your depiction and your viewpoint on this thing that I'm holding in my hand. Okay, I can ask the guy behind the camera, right, who's going to get introduced at some point throughout these podcasts, right? Oh, yes, you are. We're not getting out of that one, buddy. Oh, yeah. In any event, I can ask him, Cameron, what are your thoughts? Cameron's going to give me, and he may have some similar thoughts as you, but by and large, he's probably going to say something different, which means if we go into the therapy world, we have therapists that have different levels of masters. I mean, CMHC, LCSW, LMFT, whatever their specialty is, it doesn't really matter. They're going to give their opinion that's going to vary, right? And so the philosophy was and is that we get a varied, just a whole different array of opinions, right? Now, they have a primary therapist, but they're also going to hear from another therapist, another human being with a different viewpoint that may resonate with them where the other one didn't. Sure. Okay, so now...
I'd like to comment on that, though. I think there's different levels and different variables in addiction with a client. We all might be really similar. You might get, two clients in here that are both alcoholics, but there's different variables behind them, too, and so it takes different approaches for different people. It's not about the drugs and alcohol. There's a ton of different things in their background that need to be approached, and unless you have multi-layers and have a team approach, we may not hit the area that particular client needs.
And see, you just hit what I wanted to talk about next. A team approach, right? We have people that work here that don't have master's level degrees, but they have a life.
Sure.
Right? Honestly, I don't know how I graduated from high school, right? Really. If I got a C on a report card, two things happened. One, I cheated. Two, it's cause for celebration, especially if I didn't cheat. Okay, I don't have the education that you have, and there's other employees, team members down here that also don't have the education you have, but their input and their experiences are essential to the success of these individuals coming through Beecon Recovery.
Absolutely.
And we both recognize that. And our first podcast showed, right, that we have just a stellar team, right, that I believe was brought together. I didn't do this. You know this. I want you to share with me and everybody that can hear this, what are your thoughts on prayer personally and as it pertains to what we do here at Beecon?
Okay. Yeah. That question, prayer is essential in everything that we do in recovery and do at Beecon. Being able to tap into a power greater than ourselves, whether someone call it God, Allah, Buddha, whatever it is that they want to call it.
Deity,
higher power
third
to talk
eye,
into.
chakra.
Yeah, something outside of themselves to get guidance and direction. So it's crucial. Starting the day, ending the day, and right everything in the middle.
Okay. Basically, our way doesn't work. We, as individuals, my way doesn't work, but his way does. That's where I'm at with this.
Sure.
Right? My way, when I was stuck in my addiction, your way when you were stuck in your addiction, we were spinning our wheels like a rat on that wheel, right? Leading to absolutely nowhere, right? So
I would like to comment on that, though. I think you'd mentioned a team, and I think that goes back into the team too. We're all coming from different angles. If it were, if it were just about the drugs or alcohol, I'd want my money back. There's more that we're doing here, a lot deeper levels in. A client needs those different approaches. They may need someone that really has a strong stance on spirituality and prayer, can teach them, what it is individually for them. There may be some that they need to help them with time management, life management, bank account. It takes a team, and I'm convinced that experience trumps education. The state of Utah and Doppel requires us to have licensure to do this and to be able to go in, especially with therapeutic approaches. But I think that experience really trumps the education. And in school, we learn how to address different angles and approaches for trauma. We'll use EMDR, bilateral stimulation. We use a fairly newer one called ART that I recently got trained in that works really well. We'll use CBT. We'll use DBT. Different approaches from a licensed professional, but I do believe that experience trumps that education. I think clients get more out of someone that is one of their peers and has recently been through it and can help them with something like prayer or something like that.
So somebody that says, I was once stuck in my addiction, been there, done that, right? I'm now not stuck in my addiction, and here's what I did.
Yeah.
Here are my life's experiences because, brother, sister, whoever you are, I was where you are, right? Stuck, knee deep and with seemingly nowhere to go. Okay, because I never did myself personally meth, and I never did heroin. But I was stuck in that rut of thinking about, from the moment I opened my eyes, what am I going to do to fulfill that void? What substance, whether it was alcohol, heck, I can remember working in the emergency room. You can relate to this. I'm working the ER in the Army, getting half baked or drunk before I went into the emergency room.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Working on individuals, doing a really good job, or so I thought, until one day a nurse, civilian nurse, came to me and she said, I smell alcohol in your breath, and if I smell it again, you're done. Thank goodness she didn't rat on me, but I was a valuable member of a team.
Sure.
Just like you are, and I am now a valuable member of this team. And so I think it's really important to know that at Beecon we don't throw stones.
Yeah.
Right? There's no judgment here. Now, at the same time, there is accountability. And can you
100%.
Can you speak to the difference between no judgments but having accountability?
Yeah, I think just to backtrack a little bit, what you'd said about never doing meth, you don't need to have done meth. It's the same disease. I don't care if you ate it, drank it, slammed it, had sex with it, gambled it. It's same disease, same thing. Yeah, and as far as professionals that you're working with, maybe not, me, myself, I work well. If I'm looking for professional help, I need maybe someone that understands addiction. But it's not always crucial for it. I'm not teaching them how to load a pipe, not teaching them how to get high, trying to teach them how to have a better way of life. So someone could work in this field and maybe not necessarily have a history of addiction. Most, if not all, of our team does. But if someone's lacking in that area, I don't think it's, they aren't able to contribute to the team, so to say, if they don't have that.
Yeah.
So as far as accountability, we need people to hold us accountable. We have blinders up sometimes and don't even see it. Need someone to take those blinders down. And I don't know, if I trust you, you can come at me all day. All day I'm going to trust you to hold me accountable. If I don't, I'm going to see you as the enemy. Why is this guy calling me out? Why is he challenging me? So I think a higher perspective that we need to have here is that connection. Being able to really connect with someone so they trust you to be able to call them out if they got stinking thinking, if they aren't saying things as they need to.
So if they got the stinking thinking, we can hold them accountable with love, right?
If they give us permission to, yeah.
If they give us permission. And if not, we can just be here, right, and hope. Because that's what I tell people. We've got the two sober livings, one for the men and one for the women here at Beecon. Obviously, you know this. And oftentimes these people will get a little bit behind on the rent at the sober livings. And my first question to them is always, are you coming to your meetings? And more importantly, are you staying clean?
Yeah, skin in the game.
Yeah. Because if you're staying clean, and I know that your chances of doing so are greatly increased with regularity of coming to your meetings. And what this comes from is practice. Tiger Woods, arguably, well, no, in my opinion, not arguably, the greatest golfer that has ever lived. Okay. He still practices. He still has a coach, right? And he practices, right? Kobe Bryant, another example. He would be in the gym or in the basketball area or whatever it was hours before everybody else would get there, and would be oftentimes, from what I'm able to understand, be there afterwards, right? Practice, right? And that's what we teach these people, in my opinion, is here are the tools, right? Picture, metaphorically, you have a tool belt around your waist, and there's a loop down there, and you know, because you can see the other tools on your belt, that there's supposed to be a tool that goes in that slot, but you really don't know, but you just know that something's supposed to go there. You just don't know what it is. You come to Beecon Recovery, and we say to you, oh, look, here's that tool, right? Now here we're going to hand it to you, okay? And you're going to look at it, right? And you're going to say, okay, and we're going to show you, you're going to say, whoa, what's this? Oh, don't touch that yet. Okay, you got to do this first, and we'll get to that knob in a minute, and you'll get all the ins and outs on how this tool works. Then we're going to watch you practice here at Beecon using that tool. Then you're going to take that tool, you're going to go out into the world, and you're going to use it, and you're going to come back and you're going to talk to us about how you applied using that tool, okay? Then when you leave Beecon Recovery, you're going to ditch the belt and have the box, because you're going to have a ton of tools in that toolbox. Yeah. And most of those tools, you're going to be able to metaphorically pull out of that box, right, and use those tools
intuitively
for the rest of your life. Because while you were at Beecon, we watched you practice using those tools. Oftentimes, tools, like I say, that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah. I like to say, not only did we watch you use them, we use the tools. We know the tools. We've done them ourselves. So that's why we're able to watch you do it and coach you of how to use them effectively.
That is perfect. We have been where you are. My dad used to tell me when I was a kid, son, the bridges you are crossing, I helped build.
Nice.
Right? And that rings true here. We can share that with this with these individuals. But now let me ask you, Lee, why? Why is it so important to you that you do this, that you're doing?
Wow. I'm a deer in the headlight in that one, because I got a couple answers on there. One, because it was given to me. There were those that gave to me, and so it's giving back. It's being a part of the system, giving back to people that gave to you. That'd be my number one thing, too, because I enjoy it. I like it. I'm good at it. I see God in it. I see light. I've done other lines of work, and it just doesn't satisfy me. So at the end of the day, you put your head on that pillow and see what you've done for the day, and being able to reflect back within reason with healthy boundaries and not being too codependent. If people die, that's between them and God, not on me. I can't own that one. But for the most part, being able to get satisfaction in my work. Again, I see the dead rise, the blind see, the deaf hear daily.
Say that again slowly.
I see the dead rise, the blind see, and the deaf hear daily. It's not just a scripture, not just something I read from 1,000 years ago. I see it daily.
One more time. The dead rise,
the
blind see, and the deaf hear.
Yeah, let me elaborate on that. Yeah. So the dead rising, you get people coming in that are still detoxing. They're barely able to even connect and carry on a sentence. You get through a weekend and see them on a Monday, and it's like, oh, there you are. I see you. I see that spirit in you. The blind see, we're throwing out concepts. We're throwing out ideas. We're throwing out approaches, and they're either arguing or not getting it or not connecting to it. And then you see them. It's kind of like the old Karate Kid analogy. Pat Morita's teaching Ralph Macchio how to fight, and he had no idea he was teaching him, and he's getting mad at him. Come on, teach me how to fight. I'm tired of sanding the floor.
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah, I'm tired of that. Yeah. And he wasn't realizing he was instinctively teaching him how to fight. So when I see those effects work, that's when I'm seeing the blind see, the deaf hear. I mean, that's obvious when they start to be able to communicate with you and you get on deeper levels.
Now, let's talk about when that light goes off in their head.
Goes off?
When they see the light.
Okay.
Right? When you, and I'm going to fast forward, because people often say, what's heaven like? Right? Here's what I think, and you tell me what your thoughts are on this. I think that there's heaven on this earth. I know there is.
Absolutely.
When I see this person, whoever he or she is, goes from lights off to light on, beacon of light, Beecon Recovery is, a beacon That's why we use the term beacon, because beacon is a light, right? We are all light. You're a beacon of light. I'm a beacon of light. Okay? When we see when you see that person that goes from that state of lostness, as Devon says, being soulless, and they graduate and they have their life back. That, for me, I've had a lot of great emotions. I've had a lot of great experiences in my life, really. But I cannot think of a better emotion than seeing that.
Hands down.
I mean, you're married.
Yes.
You got kids that you love dearly, I know, because I see all your posts and all the fun stuff you're doing with your family. Is there a better for you than seeing that and experiencing the life that they got back?
Yeah, it's kind of neat when that does happen, and when you see it come on, it's like I don't know. There's lyrics to a song that I think epitomizes this that I like. The lyrics say, "Those who've been in darkness for a while kneel much longer when the lights come." So it's humbling. You see people that get that light and they act differently, think differently, talk differently, and not that they're in the clear. It's not that they're cured. There's still things that need to be done, but watching that light come on in their life, it's hands down probably one of the most powerful things I've seen.
Well, it is, and for me, it speaks to the ripple, right? The ripple. How far and wide does that ripple go?
Wow. Very far and wide. Transgenerational, things that we can't even see. Grandkids, great-grandkids.
We don't even know exist.
Those not even born yet.
Right. And here's what I think, Lee. No, I take that back. Here's what I know. For me, this is my truth, right? And you tell me if this resonates with you, and I'm pretty sure it does. At some point, I'm going to die. We all are going to die. I'm going to go from this state, this life that I'm in, and I'm going to go to the next phase of my journey. And here's what I know for me, okay? And it might not be exactly the way I foresee it, but I kind of got this vision that he's going to be flipping through the pages of my life, doing my life's review. And then he's going to come to this section. Then he's going to tell me to look. And I'm going to look. And I'm going to see a large multitude of people. And I'm going to say, wait, hey, I know that guy. Hey, Devon. But it's not just going to be Devon that's standing over there. It's Devon and that ripple. Yeah. And all of those people that their lives were affected and changed because of Devon's decision to take action and get his life back. Right? And there's going to be a large group because, of course, we got folks that have come through Beecon. It's not just them. It's people like yourself. It's everybody. There's going to be a party over there.
Sure.
Right? And we're going to have a really great time. Right? And there's not going to be any alcohol. There's not going to be any drugs. There's just going to be love. And that right there, for me, that's the answer. Everything lies with love. Love was that the Beatles?
Yeah. Yeah.
Love is the answer. Love cures all. It transcends time. It is the answer. Right?
Yeah, I think that gets back to accountability too. Like you said, I'm accountable to that. I think I've already committed to that individual. Different people have different spiritual beliefs of where we're at and where we're going in the eternities. But yeah. I believe those that I've worked with, I've committed to them. I'm going to run into you. We're going to connect and we're going to help each other. And if I don't, I don't want that accountability.
Okay. I think we're about done, right? Yeah. Anything else that you want to share? Oh, by the way, what do I got to do to get you to shave that beard? Is that even possible?
My kids don't like it when I do it. I don't think you can. Yeah.
Have I seen you without that? I don't think I
probably haven't. Probably never have.
So it's never coming off?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, it is you. All right, my friend.
I guess the only thing I have to say left on here, anyone listening, if they're struggling, reach out to someone somewhere. Get some help. There's answers out there. Don't need to be in darkness and don't need to be alone dealing with the throes of addiction. There is a solution out there.
Well, and on that end, on the website, on Beecon Recovery's website, we are actually, I don't know if I probably haven't made you aware of this. We're going to actually have, I think we did talk about this, we're going to have a resource page with a wide range of resources that don't necessarily pertain to substance abuse, depression, suicidal ideations, women that are looking for housing after they've been abused by their spouse,
case management,
legal assistance. Every single person that we have vetted at Beecon Recovery is going to go on that website, and their website's going to go on that. I mean, ACT, I'm hoping to get them on there for detox. 7th Street for residential. And all the other facilities, Steps Recovery, all these people, and I've not talked to ACT, I've not talked to any of these people, but I'm going to reach out to them. I don't know why they wouldn't let me put their stuff on my website to be a resource. So when you go to the Beecon Recovery website, there's going to be a wide range of resources made available to you and for you.
Find the answers, the
answers. Okay.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, my friend. I love you, brother. Now go get to work.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you. Okay. So thanks again for tuning in to this episode. We look forward to you liking, subscribing, and sharing all of these podcasts with any of your friends, family, or anyone else that you can think of that would benefit from learning what we have shown in these podcasts to ultimately teach people how to stay stopped. Thanks again.